They let me pick. Did I ever tell you that? Choose whichever Spartan I wanted. You know me. I did my research, watched as you became the soldier we needed you to be. Like the others, you were strong and swift and brave. A natural leader. But you had something they didn't. Something no one saw but me. Can you guess? Luck.
Hello everyone, it's your BadgerDad Mike back with another video. With the launch of Halo Infinite and the upcoming Halo TV series, I want to circle back around to the Halo franchise and dig a bit into a question that's long troubled me about the Master Chief and the way that he's presented in the games. Something I think they have improved over time, but for a long time, they've presented the Master Chief, as you saw in that first clip, as being lucky. And I don't know if that quite rings true for the Master Chief as a character. Something about him, we've seen many other Spartans brought into the games, we've met many other characters within the larger lore and franchise, and yet there's still something about the Master Chief that's so iconic, so magnetic, and I think it really connects to his ability to overcome insurmountable odds, that he keeps going in the face of the impossible. And that is something that resonates really strongly with the audience. I want to argue that luck is made. It's not spontaneously born. So we need to explore a bit about what does that mean the Master Chief is lucky? And how can we learn from that in our own lives to improve our own odds of success? The Master Chief was selected from a young age by Senior Chief Petty Officer Franklin Mendez and Dr. Catherine Halsey when they began the Spartan program. They are in effect the creators, the mother and father of the program. Their approach to raising their Spartan children, Halsey's primary goal was around getting the Spartans from a genetic pre-screening and selection. She focused on the nature, who was being chosen for the program, while Chief Mendez focused on the environment, the engineering, the physical and mental training, which argues more the nurture side that brings out someone's abilities.
Acumen, his mental quickness, his physical abilities, tactical judgment. I could tell even from a young age that John was a burgeoning complete package.
And this is explored throughout many of the books. A lot of the more recent books, they delve a lot into this difference of thought in terms of choosing from a genetic side of things, whether that makes or breaks someone, versus how they grow in their environment. The nature-nurture question's been around for a long time. But I think one of the major disconnects that's taken many years for the games and books to merge is that the Master Chief was trained and became who he was as a family and as a unit. He was not the lone soldier, Rambo-style character, even though in the games that's how he's presented. And when he's by himself in the lone man routine, the luck component seems significantly more present. Yes, he's a super soldier. Yes, he's able to do these things, but it seems almost superhuman in a lot of ways. I think they had to pull away from early on from the family unit in order to make this work. But it's interesting because in the books, the Spartans' nuances are accentuated, the differences between them. In the original program, Sam is the tallest, Kelly's the fastest, Linda is she has particular reflexes, Fred and Kurt showcase natural charisma and leadership. And the Master Chief, when he's alone, seems to be this unbelievable character, this unbelievable iconic person. And yet, when he's alongside all the other Spartans, it kind of reduces him a little bit. And we see that when he meets the other Spartans in the games much later on. Is much less striking as a character, and yet he is what attracted everyone to the games. When most people think of luck, it's typically about the external factors that impact a situation and that unexpectedly work in the favor, or either for or against, I was unlucky or I was lucky. And while I think to some degree the Chief is defined this way, it's somewhat a tip of the hat, kind of tongue-in-cheek, because he is the character you play. And from the first game, he is not allowed to die, because he is the main character. So he must overcome these impossible odds because otherwise the story ends and you can't play as him. So I understand maybe where that's coming from. But I think the more grounded reason for why he survives these impossible odds and scenarios is due to the preparation that went into raising him, maximizing his absolute potential as a human being, as an individual, and as a unit, and how that informs his ability to grow into independence and persevere and maximize the opportunity and choices that he faces throughout the games. A key part of a father's job is to protect and prepare his children for future independence. In a wider world that's often cruel, harsh, and unforgiving, and children instinctively look to parents as a role model for success, and often their own future paths and partners. And while bare bones, roof over the head, food on the table is necessary for a child to survive into adulthood, children need strong adult role models who lead and teach by example to thrive. And with oversight, children can fail with baby steps until they build up their confidence, persistence, and understanding of the reward that comes from sacrifice.
People need to understand the level of sacrifice that the chief and all the Spartans make.
This is bred into the Spartans in many ways, because that is how they're raised by Chief Mendez and to some degree Dr. Halsey.
Dr. Halsey. Spartans never die.
Your mistake is seeing Spartans as military hardware. My Spartans are humanity's next step. Our destiny as a species.
We know the Spartan 2s themselves were very similar in every way you could say from a nature side of things. Dr. Halsey made it sure of that in her pre-selection. That means they had similar genetics, IQ, they came from reasonably similar family backgrounds, they trained the same exercises, they ran the same drills, they took the same tests and classes, and not long after starting boot camp and weeding out the edges, they stayed together as one cohesive unit, at least until they were modified into Spartans. They were pre-selected to be a homogeneous, faceless, placeable by one to the next, and yet what made them human, and the early novels so compelling, is the method through which Mendez nurtured them into training and capability to assess with a humble eye their strengths and weaknesses. Master Chief's luck comes from the same place all the other Spartans came from. Is the fact that his continued success is written because he is the protagonist, he is the lucky one, of the dozens that he is the one who we play as? I think that there are 5 aspects that make up his luck, and at least how he's portrayed sets him apart for continued success. These 5 things can be used as lessons in our own lives to improve our own chances of success and make us all luckier. The first is to work smarter and not harder. Master Chief's creativity and problem solving often goes hand in hand with his ability to weigh out a given scenario. He doesn't look at things in one dimension, he doesn't consider them from the immediate impact, and he certainly isn't ruled by his emotions.
We need to run!
I need a weapon.
Weapon? This is all I've got.
It's enough.
You have 1 bullet against an entire army. What can you do on your own?
I told you. It's enough.
Flexibility and adaptation. When things go wrong, as they always will and always do in our lives, how does one process it? Do you stubbornly stick with what's working, or do you pivot? Do you reconsider the evidence and redecide how you approach something? As Mike Tyson said,
everyone has a plan until they get punched in the mouth.
And countless times the perfect plan goes south, and then what do? Well, if you're the Master Chief, you adapt and even make a better plan.
This wasn't the mission.
The missions change. They always do.
I found you, remember? You were out there on your own, and you'd still be out there if it wasn't for me. I thought I was going home.
There won't be a home if we don't stop the banished.
Have 2 options, you pick a third. Master Chief processes failure different than most. Individual success is very often dependent on how badly you want to succeed and whether you're willing to pay the price for it. A great example from Scott Adams, he talks about the sacrifices you make to success is like a highway. You drive on the highway and there's many exits. You can turn off. You don't have to keep going. The car doesn't have to keep wearing. You don't have to take the risk of a breakdown. You can make a right, take a stop, and be happy where you are. And it's the person who's willing to keep going, that's the person who succeeds. He prepares for risk-taking with affirmation. He repeatedly verbalizes or visualizes success before taking action.
Ship that size. Not on your own.
Sir, permission to leave the station.
For what purpose, Master Chief?
To give the Covenant back their bomb.
Permission granted.
I know what you're thinking, and it's crazy.
So, stay here.
Unfortunately for us both, I like crazy. Just one question. What if you miss?
I won't.
This is something I think we often miss when we're deciding to do something. We will go to do the thing instead of saying to ourselves, we are going to accomplish this. And when you visualize yourself doing this, there's significant research on this topic of affirming for yourself that you can succeed, that you will be able to do it, you can do it. Allows you to push past odds that seem impossible. And the fifth one, which is something that is not easy for anyone, especially a human being, is that he never gives up. The iron control of his emotions, he rules them and they don't rule him. And so repeatedly, he runs into characters and moments and scenarios where he has every right to be overwhelmed and he refuses to give in. He tries and tries and tries again, even if the odds say he can't do it.
You should leave me here with the rest of the carpets.
We all fail. We all make mistakes. It's what makes us human.
I'm sorry, Chief, but how have you ever failed?
I should have protected Cortana. Stopped everything from going wrong. I failed her. I will not fail you.
Most of us are not blessed with the gifts, nor training, nor experience that the Master Chief has as a character. We meet the Master Chief in the game at middle age. He's an embodiment of cool because, to quote Eddie Cantor, it took 20 years to become an overnight success. And most of us don't have superior genetics. We aren't among the highest functioning IQ. We don't have the greatest augmentation and body armor. We aren't immediately adapt to every scenario we're in. But we can all improve our luck, even the least fortunate of us. We love to live vicariously through the Master Chief. We play his life and watch his success, but how often do we challenge ourselves, put ourselves in such positions of risk and uncertainty that are necessary for us to grow? The luckiest men prepare with the mindset every day that you can win, even when they're small wins, even when they're in private, even when they're simply a little better than they were the last time. They keep failure in the moment in perspective and sacrifice short-term comforts for long-term reward. The quote, lucky ones among us improve who they are. They improve their peer circle. They choose to avoid toxic relationships and mediocrity, and they spend time with friends and family who push them to improve, to be better than who they were yesterday. They plant trees and protect the seeds, knowing that even though they may not sit under them when the war has passed, future generations will. They understand luck is what happens when preparation meets opportunity. The Master Chief is a masterfully compelling chief example across decades of storytelling of the right man with the right mindset at the right time. One who has put in the work and, as a result, changes seeming failures into success. Does luck make the man? I don't think so. Does man make his own luck? What do you think, Chief?